The courtroom cameras caught the exact second Deborah Jenkins made the biggest mistake of her life. At 52 years old and weighing over 320 pounds, Deborah had spent nearly 15 years building an identity around being a victim. She knew exactly how to manipulate sympathy, how to cry discrimination, and how to pressure people into backing down whenever her claims were questioned. But the moment she looked at Judge Judy and called her rude inside that courtroom, everything changed. What followed became one of the most explosive courtroom meltdowns of 2024, a viral moment watched by more than 65 million people online. And by the end of it, Deborah's carefully built world wasn't just damaged, it was completely destroyed. Because what Deborah didn't know was that Judge Judy already had security footage proving she had been lying for years. And once that evidence appeared on the courtroom monitors, there was nowhere left for her to hide. Before the footage was revealed, Deborah walked into court overflowing with confidence. She believed she had perfected the victim routine. Oversized clothes hung loosely from her body. Her handicapped parking permit dangled from her purse like a badge. And every movement seemed carefully designed to reinforce the image she wanted the world to see. For years, Deborah claimed she suffered from severe fibromyalgia, chronic back pain, crippling knee problems, and mobility limitations so serious she supposedly couldn't walk more than a few feet without unbearable pain. Those claims earned her over $180,000 in disability payments. But that wasn't enough for Deborah. Over time, she discovered there was even more money in lawsuits. Restaurants, local businesses, parking disputes, gyms, almost every inconvenience became another accusation of discrimination. In 15 years, she filed 14 lawsuits, and many business owners simply paid her to make the problem disappear. Deborah had turned victimhood into a full-time career, and according to her, everyone else was always the villain. The latest target was Gerald Thompson, a 68-year-old gym owner who had spent 3 decades building a small community fitness center from scratch. Gerald wasn't wealthy. He worked brutal hours just to keep his gym alive after losing nearly half his customers during the pandemic. His business served regular people, seniors, parents, working-class families, and he genuinely tried helping members improve their health. When Deborah joined the gym, Gerald even gave her a discounted membership because of her claimed medical conditions. He personally showed her accessible equipment and explained everything carefully. For months, things seemed normal. Then suddenly, Deborah claimed the equipment injured her. She accused the gym of discrimination, negligence, emotional trauma, and failing to accommodate her disabilities. Then she demanded $20,000. When Gerald refused to pay her off, she sued him. By the time the case reached Judge Judy, Gerald had already spent $8,000 in legal fees trying to defend himself, money pulled straight from retirement savings he couldn't afford to lose. But Gerald brought something into court Deborah never expected. Security footage. Judge Judy began the hearing with her usual blunt style. "Tell me exactly what happened," she said. Instead of answering directly, Deborah launched into an emotional performance. She described her daily suffering in dramatic detail, talking about chronic pain, physical limitations, and how difficult life supposedly was for someone with her disabilities. She painted herself as helpless while portraying Gerald as careless and discriminatory. Every sentence sounded rehearsed. Every pause felt calculated. And the more Deborah spoke, the more arrogant she became. At one point, she even lectured Judge Judy about disability discrimination and implied that people who questioned her simply didn't understand what overweight individuals endured. Judge Judy listened quietly, but experienced viewers could already recognize the warning signs in her expression. She wasn't buying any of it. Then came the question that changed the entire atmosphere. Ems Jenkins. Judge Judy said calmly, "You claim you can barely walk 10 feet without severe pain. So how exactly did you attend the gym 3 times a week for 3 months?" Deborah instantly became defensive. She accused Judge Judy of being insensitive. She claimed people with disabilities were constantly judged unfairly. She insisted she pushed through unbearable pain every day just to survive. But Judge Judy kept digging deeper. The inconsistencies in Deborah's story started piling up quickly. Then Judge Judy brought up Deborah's long history of lawsuits, 14 cases in 15 years, 7 settlements. Deborah's confidence began cracking for the first time. Still, she tried doubling down. She insisted every lawsuit was legitimate. She claimed she was constantly discriminated against because of her size and medical conditions. But Judge Judy wasn't finished. The judge leaned back in her chair, studying Deborah carefully before asking another simple question. "You say you can barely walk," Judge Judy said. "You claim physical activity is almost impossible. Yet somehow you regularly attended this gym for months. How does that work?" That's when Deborah snapped. Her voice rose loudly across the courtroom. "Your Honor, you're being incredibly rude right now." The entire room went silent. Audience members froze. Gerald stared in disbelief. Even the courtroom staff seemed stunned by what had just happened. And then Judge Judy slowly looked up. Her expression turned ice cold. "Rude?" she repeated calmly. "You think I'm rude?" The temperature inside the courtroom seemed to drop instantly. Judge Judy leaned forward. "What's rude," she said slowly, "is walking into my courtroom with a briefcase full of lies." Deborah's face lost all color because Judge Judy had finally reached the moment she'd been waiting for: the security footage. Courtroom monitors flickered on. The first video showed Deborah walking into the gym without difficulty. No limp, no visible pain, no signs of someone supposedly unable to move normally. Then the footage showed her spending 45 uninterrupted minutes on an elliptical machine. The audience gasped. A second clip appeared. Deborah was jogging on a treadmill. Jogging, not struggling, not stopping, not appearing disabled in any visible way. Another clip followed. This time, Deborah carried 25-pound dumbbells across the gym floor with ease. She walked more than 40 feet without any sign of discomfort. The courtroom audience erupted into murmurs. Deborah sat frozen, but Judge Judy saved the most devastating footage for last. The final video came from the exact day Deborah claimed she suffered her injury. The courtroom watched as Deborah completed a full workout without any accident occurring. She exercised normally for nearly an hour. Then something unbelievable happened. After finishing her workout, Deborah calmly sat on a bench near the entrance. For several minutes, she simply looked around the room, thinking, waiting, and then, almost like flipping a switch, she suddenly grabbed her back, started limping dramatically, and pretended to be injured. The cameras had captured everything. There had been no accident, no equipment malfunction, no injury, just a performance. The courtroom exploded. Audience members openly expressed disgust while Gerald sat in stunned relief. Deborah desperately tried defending herself, insisting the footage was taken out of context, but nobody believed her anymore. Judge Judy raised her hand to silence the room. Then she delivered another crushing blow. After reviewing the footage, Judge Judy had also searched Deborah's social media accounts. And what she found completely destroyed Deborah's disability claims. Photos showed Deborah hiking 5-mile trails. Videos showed her dancing all night at weddings. Posts celebrated completing a 5K run. There were even pictures of her at trampoline parks. Every single image contradicted the severe disabilities she had sworn under oath prevented her from working or functioning normally. Deborah finally broke down crying, not fake tears this time, real panic, 15 years of fraud collapsing in front of millions of viewers. Judge Judy looked directly at her. "You're not disabled." "Miss Jenkins," she said coldly, "you're a fraud." The words hit the courtroom like a hammer. Judge Judy then exposed Deborah's entire pattern, targeting small business owners, threatening lawsuits, weaponizing accusations of discrimination, and collecting settlements because people were too afraid or exhausted to fight her. "You're not a victim," Judge Judy told her. "You're a predator." Deborah sobbed uncontrollably, begging for sympathy and insisting she needed the disability money to survive. Judge Judy showed none. Gerald Thompson worked 70 hours a week to keep his business alive. She fired back. "You tried to destroy that with lies." Then came the ruling. Deborah would receive nothing. Instead, she was ordered to pay Gerald $20,000 for legal costs, emotional distress, and damage to his business reputation. But Judge Judy wasn't done. She announced the case would immediately be forwarded to disability fraud investigators. That single sentence destroyed Deborah's future. She now faced criminal investigations, possible prison time, massive financial penalties, and repayment demands for over $180,000 in fraudulent benefits. Judge Judy slammed the gavel down hard. "You came into my courtroom calling me rude while attempting fraud on national television," she said. "Well, Ms. Jenkins, here's your $20,000 reality check." Case dismissed. The courtroom erupted into applause. Gerald openly cried with relief while Deborah was escorted out in tears, her entire life collapsing around her. Within hours, clips of the case spread across the internet. Millions watched the moment Judge Judy exposed one of the most brazen frauds ever seen in her courtroom. Investigators launched formal disability fraud inquiries within days. Former business owners Deborah had targeted finally came forward. And the woman who spent 15 years hiding behind victimhood learned a brutal lesson the hardest possible way. In Judge Judy's courtroom, manipulation means nothing. Only the truth survives.